Okay, so welcome to another edition of the Featured Business. And today we have the host, me, of course, James Moffat. We have the co-host and platform owner, 𝗬𝗢𝗪𝗧.
Yeah.
And we have our special mystery guest, 𝗬𝗢𝗪𝗧. I don't know.
But that was
Okay, I knew I'd say something wrong. Anyway, so welcome back after the 3 weeks of holiday. So mainly because there wasn't so many people around that decided to stop it for a couple of weeks, and then it kind of snowballed into more people being away. So we stopped last week as well, or didn't book anyone. Juggled things around and found that the person that was going to do it this week actually couldn't make it in the end. So then we had a mystery guest. So very short notice, so thanks, Stefan. A mystery guest appeared. So I did change the post actually, so you'll see in there there's no longer a mystery guest. So there are going to be some more people joining, so they can join. So for anyone new here, or have you all been on before? Any newbies? No.
I think it's only Stefan, huh?
Yeah.
Or maybe Denise, were you on before? You were? Yeah, okay, great, yes.
And
Sorry for my memory.
Stefan's been on before as well. Yeah. So, I actually invited Stefan to enter, so we can talk about 𝗬𝗧 as well. So maybe there'll be some questions that Johan wants to ask as well. And but basically the format is this: we have a mystery guest or a featured guest every week on Friday at the same time, and we learn a little bit about the person, and then we jump into their business or businesses in some cases, with a focus on one, and we learn a lot about that. We make it interactive. So for the first kind of 30 minutes is kind of all about the mystery guest, and then we open it up to the audience to ask questions. So I'm not going to ask all the questions, and I'm maybe not going to ask the obvious ones. So it gives you a chance to jump in and introduce yourself and ask questions. Well, Stefan, also, if you've got questions that you want to ask the audience, then feel free to do so as we go along. So without further ado, so Stefan, in your words, just to set the scene, tell us who Stefan is, and because most people here actually don't live in their home country. So it's interesting to know where you come from, where you're living now, and a bit more about you personally. So not got into the business yet, unless the business was the reason why you came here. So,
sure.
Stefan.
Of course, I'm very happy to get you through a couple of life-defining moments in my life, because they're very important also to understand why I do what I do today. I'm actually from Slovakia. I was born and raised in Slovakia to a pair of parents which are very well educated, but also were very good caretakers of me and my brother. So I cannot complain. My childhood, it was awesome. I was living in Slovakia up until the age of 18, and that was the time when I moved to Germany. Why? Because when I was 13, my mom came to me and told me, "You're going to learn German now," which was quite tough. I didn't expect that to happen from day to day. She arranged home learning or after school sessions, and she wanted to send me to a German bilingual school for a high school. And so I had to catch up with what my schoolmates were learning for 4 years. I had to do in 1 year. And that was quite tough for me because that meant no free time whatsoever. Everything went to learn the German language, to be on the level to get to the high school. And so I did. I hated it. I didn't like my parents that year, but hey, parents do what they find best for their kids. And I understood that only with the time. I cannot say I was smart enough at the age of 14 to understand this. That wasn't the case. But I got to the high school. It was quite tough. Out of, I think, about 500 applicants, they accepted only 30. So you had to be quite good in those exams and entry exams, etc. After the high school, which was, as I said, German bilingual, I got the A levels, German equivalent of it. So I got the German Abitur, which they call. And that enabled me also to study in Germany. And so I went to Dresden at the age of 18 to study international business. Now, one side story in that, which you need to know, is that my parents, from being in Slovakia, were earning very little money at the time. My dad was earning, I think, 300 euro a month. My mom about 400 or 500. That was, we were middle class in Slovakia. but you can understand better that that was not a purchasing power which would enable you to study abroad at the time. And so what I did was that I took a summer job just before I went to Germany, and I was working on a construction site during the day and in a bakery during the night, just to save enough money to go to Germany and study there. So I went there with 700 euro, and I spent 600 within the first 2 weeks, because I had to pay my rent, and I had to get the books, and I had to just put myself into the dormitory essentially. And so what I had, the only option that I had was I need to get a job. And so I printed out my CV, as ugly as it was, as with bad German as it was. I mean, I studied in a German high school, but there's nowhere the level that actually natives speak. Nevertheless, it worked out. I printed out my CV 100 times. I went the street down, and by the end of the week, I had 3 jobs while I was studying in Germany. I had to give up on 2 of them over the period of 6 months, because I figured out, hey, if I'm a freelancer, I can do better. And so as a student in Germany, you can be a freelancer. And I was a bartender freelancer. That enabled me to write my own bills, and I was earning €2 an hour more. Hey, it's a business, you know, you need to, you need to get the best out of what the life is giving you. And so I was working and studying in Germany for 2 years. Afterwards, I went to Russia for another half year. There came another self-defining moment when I was about to go to Russia. I had 1,000 euros saved on my account, which was the biggest amount of money I ever had in my life. Also saw to that point. And my parents came to me, and, you know, with the tears in their eyes, they were very proud about so far my progress, because I wasn't lacking the school. I was progressing pretty well. And they gave me another 1,000 euro on my hand, just because they said, if I was studying in Slovakia, it would have costed them way more than what they now were giving me in order to enjoy myself as a student, because I couldn't do that while I was studying. With 3 jobs, then 1 job and a night job, it was just not possible. And so I went to Russia for half a year. I came back to finish the studies with an internship and writing the bachelor thesis. And that all happened within the time frame. The study is about 3.5 years.
So let me just ask you, why you went to Russia then?
I was very interested in becoming, handling weapons. That was my idea of what I wanted to do for the business when I was a teenager. Hey, I saw a 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥 story. You cannot blame me.
And watch out for Pete.
But here's the thing. Of course, it never came to happen, because once I started to understand how actually weapons dealing business works, there is nothing like 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥 stories these days. So I backed off from that the moment I found out. But I had other ideas what to do in my life. And the lessons which I learned in Russia were, of course, extremely valuable, and I really enjoyed the time. And also girls. That's
Russian girls?
Yeah, I was 18. I was, actually I was early 20s. So, you make the decisions differently. Yeah, I was the man of my age, I would say.
So your business is a Russian dating site, is it?
Not at all.
Oh,
Not
okay.
at all. Not at all. But here's the thing. After the Russia, I went to, as I said, finish the studies. So I did an internship. I worked as a student then, finished the bachelor, etc. And I got hired right away for IT consulting company, which everybody knows, called Accenture. And I was working for them for 3.5 years on one spot. And I saw the whole life cycle of 16 million euro project, where I first came as just a hands-on boy in the office to do paperwork, and ended up in 3 years to co-manage the project, because I was the only one who was there from the very beginning till the very end.
Wow.
Which was great. Almost got me completely my hair gray, because there was so much stress. I know how it feels to be close to burnout, just because I was this little and I ended up with co-managing 60 people, and I was just 26. And that was, I think, a bit too much. Also a bit too much to ask from me. But hey, I learned and I survived. So that was a valuable lesson. But it also made me think what I want to do in my life. And so I quit Accenture after 4 years of very intense work. And I tried to establish a business, which was in the winter sport industry, just to help my friend. It failed after 3 months because you need to kill your darlings, as the saying goes. It was too risky. Winter sport industry is just too risky to do anything in there. Because how the business is working, you're dependent on the season. It's winter. Anything you earn, you have to survive with that throughout the summer, and there is no income. So no investors is going to invest who is sane in his head. That made me quit the idea after 3 months, and then I was essentially on the street. And that's when my
Which country was that? In which country?
I was actually in between France and Germany at the time.
All right.
And that's when my ex-manager called me, and he asked me to come back. I was like, well, if I come back, then on my terms. And so I decided to switch the country from Germany to Switzerland, which doubled my salary essentially, which was a good choice for me because my girlfriend was in Strasbourg at the time, and I got the office in Basel, which is just 2 hours from each other. So that was a good choice. And but I also decided I don't want to do project management any longer. I wanted to go more techie. And the decision then went to do data visualization, which means essentially working with big data and making it somehow valuable for the end consumer, so that a normal clerk in a corporate world can actually work with data. And so after a year, I changed 8 projects where I was always a fire extinguisher. So I always, after a year, I was like, come on, I had nothing else to learn. I already have all the technical skills I can get in this position, and I'm just extinguishing fires for other people's crap, essentially. So all right, let's do something which is really worthwhile. And that's the moment when my friend called me and gave me a question which changed my life. Essentially because it gave me the idea for the business, which I am running right now. And it all actually comes down also to my experience as a student. So this is a nice transition to progress to what I actually do with Help and Trade right now, if you want to.
Right, excellent. So, yeah, now, so how long have you been in Switzerland, and where in Switzerland are you? And just before we kind of move into the business that you're in now, did you come alone, or did you come with family, or what's the family situation?
No, my family is completely in Slovakia. I am the lone runner everywhere I go. And this is, well, I left when I was 18, now I'm 30. This is 12 years since I'm on the road.
30?
Yes, right now I'm 30.
18?
And, yeah. So I'm quite a long time on the road right now. And I switched Germany, Russia, Germany, France, now Switzerland. And in Switzerland, I'm for the last 2 years, essentially.
And whereabouts?
In Basel, still. Love it here. Basel is awesome. It's a great city. There is a lot of culture happening here, and people are extremely kind. Nothing that you would expect from, I don't want to say anything bad about Swiss people, but it's not what you expect from Swiss people.
Yeah, and it's very international, I guess, because you're on 3 borders.
Yes, also.
And
I'm kind of learning French because my girlfriend is French, but it's not really working well for me. Not sure because I'm getting older or something, or just maybe I'm lazy learning French. You don't know. But so I'm happy with already speaking 5 languages. That's good.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's enough. I struggle with 1 now. Right. I need some lessons from Walter on German. Right. So, yeah, you met your girlfriend here in Switzerland, or
no, actually in Taiwan. I was.
Taiwan.
Yeah. I was traveling with my interns when I was still working in IT consulting, and we went for 2 weeks trip through Asia. So we went to Hong Kong, Macau to have some fun, and we went to Taiwan to explore the country, and that's where we met with my girlfriend in a little shitty village in the middle of nowhere. There came this beautiful French lady with a huge hair, and somehow half a year later we met again, and ever since we're together. That's 4 years now.
Excellent.
Yeah, it was quite exciting because we had to meet on the border between France and Germany all the time.
So she's come to join you in France, in Switzerland?
Kinda, yeah. She decided to do data science studies. I mean, she already has 2 degrees in engineering, and now she decided to do a 3rd degree in data science. And so she did her internship in Switzerland. And so now we have an opportunity to live again together, although different cities, but at least the same country now. That's progress.
Right, excellent. So in our conversations, I mean, you do a number of things, and you've got quite an online presence as well, because you're quite an entrepreneur, and you've got some great ideas and some businesses that you're doing. So one in particular, I guess we're going to talk about, but also interested in other things that you're dabbling around in as well. So, and also, for my credit, I actually invited Stefan to join IntNest. So, yeah, maybe you can just say, I mean, your experience of IntNest for Johan, because he's going to ask you that anyway.
Sure. I found 𝗬𝗏 really interesting. I really like that short connectivity, the very short paths between people. That's I find it way better than LinkedIn in this case, in this sense. Of course, LinkedIn is just more renowned platform to begin with, so I wouldn't like to compare them right now, but I see a clearly potential of 𝗬𝗏, and I like it. There's a couple of things which I would like to understand better, but how to put it? The potential is there. It needs to be explored more.
Yeah.
No question about it. And to be clear, I don't want to ask anything about 𝗬𝗏. This is all about Stefan and all the business and so on that you're doing. But of course, I'm happy with positive feedback, but 𝗬𝗏 will also grow further with the tougher feedback. So for all of you, anytime, don't hesitate to provide feedback of how to improve it further and so on. So yeah, that's really, really great. And I'm looking forward to getting into further what it is that you're actually doing and your different ideas and so on. I'm sure James is going to get there.
Yeah. Exactly. So, and also, I mean, for 𝗬𝗏, there are Q&As on a weekly that they're posted, so you can join those if you don't know, or just reach out to Johan or Ida.
Yeah.
Actually, I've just
every
chatted.
Thursday.
Every
Thursday. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, so sorry. Every Thursday. Yeah, I've just chatted with Ida. She's missed the call because, yeah, she's tied up at the moment. But anyway, she would normally be on these as well. So, right, now moving into your business, which is the exciting thing, right? How did you get involved in that? Kind of what challenge did you see that was out there that needed solving or fixing? And, yeah, a bit about kind of delving into that. And I'm going to ask you some more questions. And then once we get into that, then let's open it up to the audience, because, I mean, you could also ask the audience a bit about your business, see if it resonates with them and if they would use something like that. So, Stefan.
Sure, happily. So as I was mentioning, there was this question which it all started. It was like a little stone that started an avalanche. And the question that a friend of mine gave me on the phone was very simple. Stefan, I'm looking for a platform for someone who will come along and hold the cables while I'll do the electricity work. I don't want to pay him €80 for a professional service. I just need someone who comes along and helps me for 5 minutes. I pay him with beers and that's it. I was like, well, there has to be a platform like that. So I started to search and I found quite a lot of platforms which provide professional services, handiworkers essentially, which is great. And there definitely is a market and a demand for that. What I didn't find was a platform where you can exchange anything for anything as long as it's legal, whether it's goods, skills, or services. And this is how we started with 𝗬𝗏. 𝗬𝗏 is the name of the startup and the whole initiative behind it. And everything I do is called 𝗬𝗏. Because it all follows the same idea of exchanging between the people. And what do I mean by that is that on our application, we are building a mobile web application under the name of 𝗬𝗏. You can request anything you want, skills, goods, or services, and offer something in exchange, whether it is your own skills, goods, services, or it's money. It doesn't really matter. And you just as well can offer your skills, goods, and services. And we will automatically match make these between people. So requests get matched with offers. How does it work in the next step is this is public for everyone to be seen, can be shared. You can immediately interact with it. It's all transparent. You can show interest to that trade and you can start the trade with the person. Now it is then up to the creator of the trade to accept the interest of the person, make him confirm whether they really are going to pick up this trade of skills, goods, or services or not. This first question that people are always having is like, well, wait a minute, how is there the trust and how is it that professional services are not going to be devalued? Very simple. It's all defined by the users themselves, which means when I say, I need someone who comes along and paints my room, I am ready to offer for that breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or I'm ready to offer for that 150 francs, which I assume is appropriate price for painting a room. Now, this is all public and everybody can interact with it. Because it's public and everybody can interact with it, there can be a James who comes along and says, you know what, I'm new in the town. I'd like to get connected. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner is fine with me, but I'm not a professional painter. There can be a professional painter whose name is Pete. He will come along and say, you know what, I'm a professional painter, but I need 300 francs for my work. And this is self-defined. This is all transparent for everyone. And so this is now up to me to make a decision. Do I want a professional service where I can rely on the quality? Or do I just want to get the room done because it's a seller and I don't really care about the quality? And this is really up to me. Now, what are we aiming with this all is, I mean, the vision is way bigger than just connecting the demand with the supply. And why am I saying is because, as I mentioned, I had quite a struggle when I was a student. And this is one of the points behind that. Because when you start offering your services, you don't have to be an entrepreneur to do so. We want to enable you to offer your hobby as a service. You like creating teddies? Put it out there. Do an offer, and we will make what you actually offer with the demand on the market. Is there no demand? People still get to see that, and you can interact with it. You can get the feedback from the market to what you're actually offering. And so we are creating actually also an entrepreneurial ecosystem where you can create your offers, you can see the demand, you can get the feedback, you can burn your fingers safely without spending any money on creating any digital websites or any digital goods before you actually have the proof of your concept by the market itself, which is great. The second value behind it is it's all hyper localized. Why are we doing that? Because environment matters. When we speak about selling goods, everybody is aware about environment, CO2 output, and we don't necessarily want China product if we can get something which is local. But nobody actually questions that about services. Nobody actually questions if the painter who comes along does the work with, for example, recycled colors, or is it China-based colors, which may not be the best for your walls on the long term? Is the painter across the whole country, or is he actually your neighbor? And we solve all these questions for you. Why do we do that? So that you don't have to give those questions. You only say, I need a painter, and we take care of everything else. And it's going to be local, helping the environment, helping the local community, strengthening the local economy, but also you get your pain point done. And that's also for the business side. Why?
I'm just gonna jump in there.
Sure.
Hold that thought at the moment. So we kind of all inadvertently do it anyway, because I mean, you're talking about LinkedIn. I offer a LinkedIn training program, and I'm running it at the moment, but there's some people there that wanted to join, but didn't necessarily have the money to pay. But then I said, well, what do you offer that maybe would be something for me? So there's actually a number of people actually in the program. So one is actually a back specialist. And I tell you, every morning I wake up with a chronic back problem. And it's not until like half an hour later that it's kind of eased its way into like normality, and I'm okay again. Now, I can't afford to go to a back specialist, and she can't afford to come on this training. So between us, we're doing bartering. So I get 5 sessions with her, and she gets 5 sessions with me. So it's a great way of doing it because I'm benefiting and she's benefiting. And at the end of the day, we're both happy, and we didn't use kind of money, although you still need money to pay the bills and things. You can't do it for everyone on every occasion, but why not for a few things? So I love that. And also about, we live in a house that's on 3 floors, and I can't get to the 3rd floor because I don't have a ladder. I'm not going to go and buy a ladder just so I can like clean the window. Now, if I could get someone to come around either with a ladder, and I'll clean the window, but I need someone with a ladder. Now, I could go around like the neighborhood and ask the neighbor. So it's kind of doing that, but in a structured way that there's a platform to enable that. So I love the idea.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to get back to the point that you mentioned about the pain points, which we are solving. What is the real need on the market?
Exactly.
And the real need behind that is that as a consumer, as a normal person, your pains are changing every day. On a Saturday, you need someone to paint your room. On Sunday, you need someone to walk your dog. On Monday, you need someone who's going to take care of your kids. And nowadays, how you solve it is you go for Google and you try to find something. What you find is actually paid advertisement for some big company on the 2 first pages of results. You will not find anything local, which is quite the problem if you really need a local solution. Secondly, because your everyday challenges are changing, you always go through a different platform, which is very specialized in that specific need. There is a platform for electricians. There is a platform to clean your carpets. There is a platform to just rent your car. And you always have to create a new account. You have to do all those steps again. And everywhere you start from scratch. Why not solving it with one platform? Like, I don't want to go with 10 or 20 different platforms in order to go along with my day. I just want to say what the pain point is, and I want to get it solved. And this is for the consumer side. And we can do that with automated matchmaking. We can do it locally for you. You can negotiate the price. You have all the benefits and the environment benefits. And also there is the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the next step where you can do whatever you like. For the businesses, that's a very similar story. I don't have to do digital marketing, which costs a lot of money in order to put out myself there. I can just do one offer. It gets matchmaked so that I'm not spending any money on finding customers, essentially, which is great because usually it is up to 40% of your daily business, which is just about acquiring customers. And what we can do is you do your offer and that's it. You get email with, these are people that actually have a demand for your service. Go for them. There is no need for any marketing. There is no need for any digital services which you need. And as a handy worker, you don't have the skills to build your website. So why do you need that these days? So I mean, focus on what you do the best, which is delivering the quality and your services. We'll take care of the rest. And this is the two pain points which we are trying to bring together.
Which is actually...
Yeah, go ahead. We are not in Q&A. I'm sorry.
No, you're jumping in too early. Right.
I'm always do, you know me. I can't wait. I'm not patient.
Right. No, yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, you've lost my thought now. I mean, it brings immense value, and I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. But yeah, how long have you been in this business? I mean, when did you start it? And you mentioned kind of the idea and how it came about. Someone would like hold a ladder or hold some cabling or whatever, hold a paint pot, yeah, or open the lid because you can't open it or something like that.
The question was given to me about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was constantly fighting with it. I was trying to find anything which would not make it legal, which would not make it anyhow start, which wouldn't make it sense. Why nobody came up with a platform which solves your pain points every day? Why is it not there? I was trying to solve this for a year for myself while earning money and saving the money in Switzerland in order to actually start it, because everything I do is financed by myself.
Okay, so the platform is available globally or regional at the moment?
We are about to launch soon. I hope by the end of August. We need to clear off a couple of technical things. And at the moment, it will be available everywhere. We need to make our experience first with what are actually people offering and requesting. And also we need to experience the bad cases before we start prohibiting it in certain countries and regulating it more.
Okay, and there'll be kind of a mechanism, like if someone's on there and they're claiming they can do all of this, like painting your room, and then the work is shocking and whatever, there'll kind of be a scoring on it so you could then see feedback.
Yeah, feedback is an essential part of it. You will not close the trade until you actually give feedback to each other. All
right, okay. So it's kind of trusted people and then referrals and stuff. So, yes. And how do you make money on this? And so you're invested in the platform. So you've had to create that. You've got to make it available. It'll be also on a mobile app as well.
It is essentially mobile web application. So you don't need to download it. It's you just go on a Chrome, type the address and you're there. You can also use it on a desktop. That's what made a change recently. But it is a mobile web application. And that enables us to use it on every device without actually having to adjust it to the operating system, as an example. Of course, there are a couple of disadvantages for that because iOS has certain restrictions, also security-wise. Mm-hmm. So in the future, there will be a native app for that.
So at the moment, this is self-funding, or are you looking for funding, or where are you in the business at the moment?
I'm funding it completely myself. I'm living out of my savings, my whole life savings of when I was earning money in Germany and then in Switzerland. And I will be looking for funding as soon as we start getting users, because without users, there is no proof of concept.
So you're going to come on the pitching event and pitch?
Yes.
Right.
And I think David Dordling is on the call here also, and he's helping a lot of entrepreneurs with what to put in place in order to progress on your funding and so on going forward. So that might be a great connection for you.
Oh, great.
Exactly. If you don't know David, then definitely speak with him.
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank you very much. I will definitely catch up with David. David, if you don't mind.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, what you can do also as part of this, I mean, in the event, share the links to everything. So Yeah. Do you have, because I know that Julia is itching to ask a question. So I want anyone in the audience to ask a question. We kind of do Q&A, unless there's anything else you kind of need to conclude on the business itself, and then we'll open it up to Q&A.
You asked me about the revenue streams, which I didn't answer yet.
Yeah.
If that's still the
Avoiding
question,
that one, I'm saying.
Sure, then I'll be happy to answer. We have 4 revenue streams defined. The very first one is a subscription for businesses, which for first 3 months, you're completely free. After 3 months, there is a subscription, which is going to scale up with how many offers per month are you going to do. The offers are temporarily. As soon as you close the trade, the offer is off the market. So you have to renew your offer constantly as a business. Therefore, we know how much you're actually doing through the application. Now, with the subscription, you can do more trades. Essentially, we will have to block the amount of trades you do on the platform to begin with. And with the subscription, you can unlock that. This way, we protect platform from spamming on one side. On the other side, we keep certain control over what is actually happening. And also, it enables us to earn certain money. The second revenue stream is if you want your offers to be kept constantly over the period of a year, you can, I mean, this is again scalable per month and the location. Essentially, you will open up your own local digital store. That means as a carpenter, you can do something as, you know, all your shelves, all your wooden products, you can put them up there, put them on the map, and everybody who is going to look for wooden products, I'm looking for a recyclable wardrobe, he's going to find it and he can order it directly from you through our application. And that's the second revenue stream. The third revenue stream is we can use the application also for big businesses and medium businesses where we offer our application as their own personal blackboard, which means everybody within, say, Roche, which has thousands of employees, can use the application and all the requests and offers will be only visible to them within their own network of Roche employees, which of course gives the trust by default. If it's not being fulfilled, if you have a demand which is not fulfilled by your colleagues from Roche, you can just as well announce it publicly and then it's again approachable by everyone. And then there is a fourth revenue stream, which is a percentage on top once the money is being transferred between the users. It's the most prominent revenue stream, but it's also the most complicated one to implement.
Okay, so if it's a company one, so would it be branded yours or would you be white labeling it for them?
Didn't really think about it.
Because say someone like Roche and there's thousands of people in there and you want kind of a closed user platform in the way that they want to use it for trading and maybe things that do outside of work, then I mean it could be used for both outside activities and things that they do, or it could be used for business professional things that they never knew about their colleagues. They could do that, or a skill set that they've got, but they don't use it in their particular work.
This is where Pete comes in, huh? And I have to advertise a little bit on behalf of Pete. He has great skills in the whole branding area and doing even a session, I think it is, when is the next one? It's on Thursday, right?
Yeah, Thursday.
Yeah, yeah, excellent. So, Stefan, you should definitely get in contact with Pete too, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you, will do.
Yeah, Julia did mention she had to drop out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she dropped out and she didn't ask the question. So terrible of me for not bearing that in mind. So
yes,
yeah, she'll have a word with me later. So
Stefan, I think I'm sitting here and laughing because and there was.
Sorry,
you
can't
hear me?
Well, now, can you say it again? We missed the bit.
Yep. Oh, sorry. I was for several years I lived in LA, and there was always this thing that would tickle me half to death when I would hear about people talking about finding partners who were geographically desirable. Because, you know, like, for example, I lived in Redondo Beach by the ocean. Somebody might be living in the San Bernardino in the mountains, you know, and on the freeway, it can be 20 minutes or 3 hours, depending on the traffic. So people would find people who are geographically compatible. And I laugh when I think a service like yours for some people like that would actually be quite perfect because you take the work out of finding people who are geographically desirable. which it would be an interesting application of this, but it just struck me that the application of this kind of barter system, which is a sophisticated barter system is what you're talking about, can be applicable in lots of ways, perhaps ways that you may not have even thought about, like finding partners who are geographically desirable. In California, they would love you, absolutely love you.
I'm happy to hear. There certainly is things to explore. We have to start somehow. We cannot cover all the ground. That's the first lesson of entrepreneurship. If you go too thin, you're not doing anything. So our approach is first to go for small businesses. Just go the street down, as when I went with my 100 CVs. Go for one shop after another, and just offer the platform as extra digital service for them to be explorable and foundable, because it's going to be Google indexed and everything. So they're going to have that. And filling out the application first with offers is essential, so that when you come as a consumer, you don't find an empty application, but also you find out how things work for you. And how that is going to move then, I do not know. I cannot anticipate whether it's going to be only electricians who really going to have the traction from the application, or is going to be actually farmers who sell different products. I cannot anticipate. Of course, I talk to so many different businesses and they all see some sort of a benefit for them. But we are still in a proof of concept, and we are only going to get it with users.
Yes,
Stefan, I put something in the chat. I hope you can see that.
Nextdoor.com.
There's fascinating what you were telling, and after a while, while you were talking, I said, "Hang on, I'm using that every day," and this is why I put that web address there. It's something that I had a postcard through my door about 3 or 4 years ago from this organization Nextdoor, and with a code. So they invited me to join the network, and I thought, okay, let's have a look. So it was, if you want, it was a bit like endless invitation only. Yeah. Somebody had to stick the postcard into my letterbox. And so what I get, and you will see it when you sign up. I'm not sure how geographically easy it will be for you, because it is a local for local thing. And for example, I found somebody who did my lawn mowing for me. I found a cleaner through that. I sold a set of tires through that. I found somebody who took an old bed to the skip for me. And of course, some of these things go for free. Some of these things go for a price. The only thing I haven't seen yet is the idea of bartering. I think that would probably something. I'm not sure you can see anything of that if I show you the. Is that recognizable? Probably not.
No, right now it's covered by the map.
Yeah, it's covered by the map. I mean, but you could see it when you go and have a look on it. Now the question is,
how do we make a difference?
I'm not sure they will have a global copyright on that. But the question is, number one, how much of the wheel do you have to reinvent yourself? Would it be worthwhile to have a look what they are doing and how they are doing it?
Oh, I know exactly what they're doing.
And probably you know exactly what they're doing,
yeah.
and probably even see if there is something like partnering. But I have to say, I'm not paying anything for I'm not paying for anything. I even used it for advertising my business. I mean, I'm very picky with offering a coaching business locally. But for example, when the lockdown started out, and we had this appeal, help the helpers, help the people who are on the front line in the healthcare system with their burnout and whatever. So I posted a message saying, whenever you need somebody to sound off, whenever you need a little bit more of resilience, I give you a coaching session for free. and you find the electricians, you find the gardeners, you find the Polish cleaners, you find everything. You find even people who do moving from here to Poland and vice versa. Brexit here, so many people who help other people to move to other countries outside of the UK. So have a look. I think it's a great system.
It is definitely a great system. I know also other platforms which are doing neighborhood help. That's where this platform is falling onto as a category. The only problem which I find with Nextdoor is that it's very restrictive regarding to your location. You cannot change it. You get the invite because you live in that location, which makes you trustworthy in that location only. It means if you go for a trip to Paris, you cannot use the application essentially because you're not a neighbor in there. Whereas with our application as a student, for example, you could say, I am ready for a trip. I'll go for a wine yard and I'll offer my services. I'll help pick up the grapes for the overnight, for the food. I'll get the experience. I get to know the region. I'll travel. I'll stay overnight for free. And this is not possible with Nextdoor. And this is where again, why the things are defined partially the way they are is because of my experience when I was a student. I needed the flexibility, but I also needed a way how to earn money. And this is something that we actually can offer as well.
That's great, great. I don't know if you're seeing the comments, and I'm not sure if Denise, if we can hear her, but at least she has put in a written comment in there. So, and there is also a question in there. I don't know if you see it, Stefan, maybe you can tackle that one as the next one. So we move forward with some,
and I think
speed
also,
to get everything through.
I think Pete has a question also.
Yeah.
So, Pete, do you want to go first, and then we'll come on to Denise's one?
Really interesting. I'm curious, and maybe this hasn't become a problem yet, but I'm curious how the governments are going to look at this from a tax perspective when you're bartering, and there's no tax implication, which is fantastic for the members. Have you thought about that, and how do you think you're going to have to deal with it?
Yes, businesses by law cannot accept anything else than money. Otherwise, it is not a fair competition. What is meant by that is that if you're a Roche, you could easily say we are giving out toothpaste for free to everyone. And everyone who is creating toothpaste would be out of a business outside of Roche. Roche can do it because they have money to do so. And so everybody has to offer their services and products for money. That's by law. And so that's what also we'll have to do with our application. We say, if you're a business, the thing that you can accept is money. What happens once you meet the person, nobody knows, but it is all registered in the money evaluation. And so on a paper, you can tax it, and all the responsibility is up to you as a business. What is actually in your books is your responsibility. When it comes to person-to-person exchange, when it comes to exchange of goods, nobody cares. When it comes to exchange of services, you can earn up to 200 francs a month in Switzerland without anyone being bothered by anything. Everything above, you need a license to do what you do. And this is something we can definitely take care of because we want to position ourselves as the platform where you can start your entrepreneurship. So we just as may give you all the information which you need in order to do the steps. Where we say, thank you, Pete, for already doing your offers and services, selling, I don't know, teddy bears via our platform. You already earned about 1,000 francs via our platform. Probably it's time that you actually get a license for what you do. And here is all the information you need. This is all the steps that you need. You can start tomorrow.
Nice. So you're going to guide the individual once they threshold.
Exactly. When we're so far, we can do that. We do not want to take any responsibility for employment. That is a big no-go for us. We are not offering jobs via our application because that would be a humongous overhead. There would be too much of trouble everywhere. So
well, that's what Uber didn't expect either, right? But
yes.
What they have now been, this is a tricky one, a really tricky one.
Yeah.
And now moving on to Denise, can you see Denise's question in the chat?
Yes, how many of you are working on this business project together? We are right now, I think about 8 people. I started all alone. As it is in entrepreneurship, whatever you start, people come along, stay for 3 months and leave. So the road is bumpy. That's just the way it is. but by now, a couple of people crystallized out of the mass of people that I was trying to get and bring along. And right now, I am funding two developers sitting in Africa. We are 3 guys who are sitting every day on the application and developing it every day. Then we have 2 people, Alina and Hasib. One is sitting in Germany, one in Pakistan, who are the graphics designers of the application and the website. And then we have also a web developer who is sitting in Bangladesh. And we have also a sales associate who is going to help with the selling strategy. We are about to create affiliate kind of a marketing for ourselves as well. It means as soon as you roll in businesses and they subscribe, you get a share of their subscription. It's not yet in place, but we have to implement it, and he will be also part of that.
Sounds like we need to talk a little bit further later on also, Stefan. There's a number of elements which are in similarity with what you're developing, and of course what 𝗬𝗏𝗏 also has with the offers and needs section inside of 𝗬𝗏𝗏. So, but yeah, very good. Congratulations on getting this far.
So, Johan, we should have you as a featured guest because you've got a similar story. And also,
there are some elements, but yeah, everybody is having their own story.
Maybe not the Russian bit.
There is the also comment with regards to freelancers.com. I do not know the website, but I assume it's about digital services mostly. And we are not aiming for digital services because there are just too many platforms which already cover it perfectly well. It's all about doing things local. So you can just as well do that. You can offer your digital services locally, and there's a value behind that. Because so far my experience is that, yes, having a graphic designer who is across the world is great because it's cheap, but I really wish I had someone who I can sit together and we can do it together here today, and I can actually get to know the person better. It's just, I mean, you know, there is a value of communication, the body language behind it, but also you get to know the person better. So the trust is easier to come along.
So where did you find your people? The one you mentioned, Bangladesh and Africa and all over the world. Where did you find your people?
Yeah. When it came to digital services, I used exactly that kind of platform to get the first experience where it, for example, in regards to the graphic designer, I needed someone who will improve the website. And so I was looking for graphic designer. I burned myself with 3 and the 4th one was good. And that's the one that I stuck my guns with, and so far so good.
So which platform, if I may ask?
There was a Fiverr.
Fiverr, yeah, okay, yeah.
It's just extremely cheap. I mean, you cannot compete with the prices that the guys in Bangladesh are offering.
No, for sure, I agree.
Okay, so just kind of moving this along a little bit. So you mentioned about you're ready to launch. You haven't yet launched yet, so you're about to launch?
Exactly.
And when is that? Have you got a date?
Well, the plan was that I come from a vacation and we can do it. There came a couple of technical bumps in between where, because I was in a vacation, I couldn't predict them. So we have to clear off a couple of things. Also from the administrative part, we are building some sort of administrative dashboard at the background so that when you publish a trade, which has a couple of words which do not pass our profanity filter, then we first postpone the trade before it's actually published. So no dick pics via the platform. That's what it means. And that also needs to be accomplished before we actually publish.
So when you launch, it's going to be locally to start with?
Yes, we will start first in Basel. I mean, locally in the sense that I will go out there and try to get users on board locally, yes. Yeah. But the application will be globally accessible. So
So on that note, we should also talk, because I know a lot of kind of businesses that are physical businesses, but they normally go to expos and things. But in the absence of not being able to do that, this could be a way to bring it online.
Yeah, absolutely. We do not have affiliate marketing in place yet, but anyone who you brought them over and they sign in, we can note it down, and you got yourself a deal.
Right. Also a few other things that we could be doing. So this is kind of...
Yeah, Denise had one more element, which I think is very interesting also. She asked, what time frame are you giving yourself to get this project from startup phase to the professional level?
Oh, that's a very good question.
I think it's a very good question. Yes.
Yeah. I completely skipped it. Very sorry, Dennis. Didn't see that. So right now we are finishing the MVP. and that should be launched now. I give it 3 months before we know anything. The 3 months of trying to sell it door by door, social media, approaching everyone around, is going to give us a certain level of experience in order to know better what's going to happen after 3 months. It still can be, it's going down the toilet after 3 months. That's just a reality. Kill your darlings again. But if that goes well, then we have also data which we can start raising money with, because now we have a proof of concept. We spend this much time to acquire this many customers. If you provide us 10 times more money, we can get 10 times more customers. It's an easy calculation for investment.
20. Exponential growth, right?
The idea behind it is, yes, exponential growth, but at this stage, everything in a business case is top down. You do not know unless you have the users.
Yeah.
And so, yes, we can evaluate our company with thousands, 100,000s or millions. It's worthless unless you have users.
Yes.
And so getting users, first point. On the long term, 3 years plan, within 3 years, we are definitely self-sustaining. And within 5 years, there should be the hockey stick growth.
Yeah.
Right. And we have David on the call as well. So David, I know he's dropped me a couple of notes privately. So I mean, maybe David, have you got any questions or any advice?
No, I'll reach out to Stefan afterwards. I mean, I think it's been touched on a couple of times. There's no shortage of platforms for trying to find services that you want. Okay. I wonder, Stefan, though, whether if you could sum it up in 1 or 2 words, how would you describe your platform versus those others that people have mentioned? And there's lots of. I keep on thinking of the difference for me, and I don't know whether it's right or wrong. You can tell me I'm wrong. Is exchange. And I was saying to James in the chat, I was remembering my economics classes and people talking about intrinsic value. And for me, it's the exchange element of it. 2 parties exchanging something that they both perceive value in, and they're swapping different things. I'm not going online looking for a particular service necessarily. I may be going online, okay, but also I'm actually looking to exchange what I have for a service that I'm actually also looking for. James's example, okay, that at the beginning that he gave, I thought was a great example. So that's, but you can tell me whether I'm wrong, okay? But that's how I view the platform.
Sure. Well, Help and Trade, kind of like a bottom line, is it's a local exchange of skills, goods, and services. What we start with is local services. What do we aim for is local entrepreneurship. That's the overall vision. And the vision makes a difference to other platforms, because all the other platforms stop at one-way purchase or just local exchange. Whereas what we really want at the end of the day is that you, David, can become happy with what you do. You can transition from your hobby to an entrepreneurship with the one platform where you can solve your everyday troubles just as you did before, but you can as well offer your services.
Yeah, I mean, it's for a conversation for another time. But I just wonder that with such a vision, what you'll be doing is you'll be moving yourself over time into a completely different competitive space.
Yes.
And whether that's actually what you want to do. If you connect people that are looking to exchange services, which, as you say, when you first started, that it didn't appear to exist. Okay. And I'm not just looking for a platform where I want to buy a service, okay? And some value is attached to that transaction, that exchange that takes place, and you take a fee on every transaction that actually takes place. And you build a volume transaction model. You could build a nice business, and you create your competitive differentiation.
Yeah, we have to be careful with that exchange, because we do not earn anything when we exchange bananas for oranges. We want to support it fully, because it's good for the environment, circular economy, that's definitely the case. But we cannot earn any money on that. And so we only earn money when the money is exchanged between the users on a long term. And in order to do that, we have to have the system in place for doing so.
Okay.
But as you mentioned, it can be a combination of money and services.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the kind of flexibility you want to keep, at least at the very beginning, before things are really hardly defined, also by the competitors, which moves they did, etc. But also the competitive landscape is just gigantic. I mean, we go against Google when it comes down to it. Why? Because you use Google to search for services. Now, we want to make it easier for you so that you get better results than is actually paid advertisement.
Just about my final comment on this. We've done 2 due diligence on platforms like this. Okay, and building up the commercial model. Okay, and generating the right search results, as you say, because of what you're going up against. Yeah, there's something we can talk about that, Stefan, afterwards. But yeah, the due diligence on these models is actually quite interesting.
Yeah, I'll be very happy to catch up, David.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, we've come to the hour, so thank you very much, everyone. Are there any other questions from anybody? Walter.
Is a question to Stefan, but also a question to all of us. And sorry if it becomes a little bit philosophical, but we are almost halfway into the weekend. I listened very carefully, Stefan, when you said one of the things you want to achieve is you want to grow local entrepreneurship. You want to support local entrepreneurship, which is a great thing. And I can see a difference to Nextdoor, because on Nextdoor, a lot of people go on Nextdoor to find something, a quick fix for cheap. I need a plumber to fix the leak in my bathroom for a reasonable price. So the people who go in there, they come with the presupposition that all registered tradespeople are unreasonable pricing. James, you remember your story from last week. So I want somebody local for a reasonable price. Okay, that's a fair interest. But then you also have people who say the price is not so important for me. For me, it's important that it has an ethical aspect. See, if you buy organic is good for you, as many people say, but it also say, well, I also support local farmers who are committed to organic products. And then people say, it's not so much a matter of price. Now, there is one thing, and very sorry for if it sounds very harsh, yeah, but let's say, how can you promote local entrepreneurship when your own business sources all resources for cheap from Bangladesh?
Indeed. Yes, our service is digital service. Other services which we are going to promote are local services, which are hands-on, done by human to human.
But there are lovely people, locally in Basel, who can fantastically do digital services. The only thing is they have higher living conditions than the guy in Bangladesh.
Yes.
So on one hand, we promote the local entrepreneurship as long as somebody is ready to get his hand dirty. But on the other hand, you see, it's a bit like the dilemma of Uber. Making a nice app and cashing in and making the good old London cabbie almost out of his job, who worked hard for his knowledge and invested thousands of pounds to get a license. And now you have Toyota Yaris's running around or whatever they're called in London. They're going like ghost ships because they never know where to go. And they even do turns on the motorways because they have everything, bar a qualification in taxi driving.
Yeah, It's an interesting thought, and there's a couple of things that come together with that. So in regards to the promoting local entrepreneurship, what we also do is meetups, where we invite people to come together. And these are happening every month. And we have now 230 members in Basel and about 30 members in Bern. And these people meet locally to exchange with each other. They come because we offer hot seat. They come because we also offer podcasting for them in order to promote themselves. And this is really meeting each other. These people are offering all sorts of services, whether it's digital, whether it's coaching, whether it is creating websites, etc. And this is also part of what we do with Help and Trade. This is why it's also running under the name of Help and Trade. When it comes to the kind of like controversy, where we say we are outsourcing our digital services somewhere else instead of sourcing them in Switzerland, this is the phase of where we are right now. Entrepreneurship is all about resource allocation and opportunity costs. And my experience so far was everyone else that I approached was not willing to put as much time and effort as I found with the guys in Africa, for example, because they are willing, they are hungry, they want to do, and they want to earn their money fairly. Whereas I didn't get the same offer, and nobody showed the same effort or willingness to do in Switzerland.
That's why we still need the Polish cherry pluckers in the UK.
For example.
Anyway, I think we could talk about this all day and go on and on. So Stefan does do a meetup, I mean 2 meetups, I mean one in Basel, one for Bern, because they're online, I guess.
No, they're personal. They're personal.
Oh, they're personal.
Yeah.
All right. So you can attend that. You don't have an online version? I thought you had an online, or was that?
During the Corona crisis, we did online version.
Okay.
Because we couldn't meet, but actually it is all personal.
All right, okay. So you can obviously reach out to Stefan so he can make details available, although you can find them within Nest anyway, so not a problem. And it's been a pleasure, Stefan, having you on. We learned a lot more about you. And I think a few people here will probably want to reach out to you and catch up and share some ideas and see if there's some possibility of some collaboration there. Me for one, and Johan and David, and I think others. So that's great news. So thank you very much. Thanks everyone for participating, and it'll be the same time next week. And if you haven't been a featured guest and you'd like to be one, then just let Johan or myself know, and then we'll schedule you in and learn more about you. So with that, I wish you all a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you here.
See you all again.
Likewise. Yeah. Great event as always. Thank you. Very valuable for everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for this opportunity. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.